So for these coffee with Cartesi series, we usually gather at each other's house. Something that we used to do normally, but to have some conversations. But we thought it would be a good idea to to just open our private conversations to the public, because there are always some insights that we want to share. Sometimes hear what you guys have to say. So here we are.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. We were actually at my house last Friday discussing this incident and the crypto market in general. So looking forward to diving deeper in this Twitter space. So maybe we can get started. You want
Yeah, we
to
can
open
get
up again,
sure,
Eric?
sure. So as we said, maybe there are some newcomers here. Today we're gathering to go through this deeper reflection on what's going on with crypto. Our current macro conditions are not very beautiful to say, and we're gonna go a little bit into the Luna events and the implications. And in the end, I want to finish this conversation in a positive note, right? So of course it is a
Absolutely.
gloomy time, but I'm still very much enthusiastic about the technology, and I really trust that we are on something that's very meaningful for the future.
Yeah, here at Cartesi, we are really true believers in blockchain and what we're building. So there's nothing that can put us down. We're committed as ever, even in these dark times in the market, even with what we see in Luna, UST, actually makes us work harder and make sure we deliver something that is robust.
Yeah, yeah, and there are all sorts of projects in the space, and whenever something like this happens, it shakes off things, and some projects that were not really stable, they just fall off. But we are here for the long game, and one of the things that we do at Cartel is to be very responsible with our funds. So for us, that doesn't really matter, the price of Cartesi, the swings. We have funds to just take our project forward and deliver whatever we need to deliver.
Exactly. And yeah, we're committed, and we want to actually kind of go over the future of DeFi, how we see it, Web3, and blockchains in general, just to kind of explore and see where everyone's at in the space. And by the way, this time we'd love to open up the mic for some questions, or if anyone has an additional comment while we're speaking, just please feel free to request speaking, and I'll make sure to make you a speaker. So maybe we can jump right into first talking about Luna and Terra. What do you
Yeah,
think, Eric?
sure, sure, sure. I think whenever I reflect upon this event, I think about other major cataclysm events that happen in blockchain, like BitConnect,
Yeah.
the DAO hack, Mountain Gox, and all these things, right? So
Yeah, these have kind of been through multiple different scenarios where the crypto has made the crypto market crash. There's been a purification of different projects, people involved in the space. But you know what? I think the crypto market always comes out stronger.
yeah, and in a sense, it's good to see that we have survived as an industry, as a community throughout all these events. And certainly now it's not the end of crypto. I think this event is actually good in a sense to make everything stronger. So there are some events that are more systemic, like Mountain Gox at the beginning. It was pretty much the only exchange, so it really destroyed most of the environments with the problem we had there.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
things like BitConnects are not, although it was major scam, it was not like, I wouldn't say it was a systemic event, because it was particular to a certain application and people who were following that project in particular. But when it comes to Luna, it's deeper, right? Although it was one blockchain, and in March 2022 it was the second. I mean the alternative to Ethereum that had the highest market cap, even above Solana, right? So the crash of Luna also dragged down Bitcoin. So I would consider this a major cataclysmic event.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was quite a situation. I mean, this is probably one of the biggest events that will, and we still don't even know all the repercussions or the consequences we'll have as a result of this. I mean, from my personal view, I think we'll see a lot of regulation come to algorithmic stablecoins or stablecoins in general. We'll see the SEC come and use this as a case when they come and regulate DeFi or other projects in the space. So yeah, we'll have to wait in the coming months to see what happens as a result.
Yeah, yeah. But I think as a starting point, maybe it's good. I don't know, maybe lots of people here know exactly what happened to Luna. Maybe other people don't know exactly what happened. But I think it's good for us to spend a few minutes going through the sequence of events. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. Maybe we can go a little bit into the algorithm. Do you want to give that a shot?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a algorithmic stable coin. So the way it was supposed to work is that people would have to, when they wanted to create UST, they would have to destroy Luna to mint UST and vice versa, right? So as long as you have, as long as things are over collateralized, let's say the market cap of Luna is way, way above, like multiples of the market cap of UST, you can have a feeling that you're playing on the safe side, right?
It almost acted like a little bit like a central bank kind of regulating a currency. So it was always selling $1 worth of Luna to create a UST.
But actually, this algorithm is not really stable when you press it harder against like extreme conditions, right? So when the market changes and you have a major crash in Bitcoin, which of course impacts the whole ecosystem, then of course the price of Luna would fall sharply, especially because Luna didn't have like a strong use utility. Like if you take ETH for instance, it has a strong mature utility. In the case of Luna, you didn't have that.
Exactly. In Ethereum, if you take DAI for an example, it's well over collateralized with Maker and both Ethereum that have much higher liquidity levels and have been around for years. So they're very widespread. Whereas Luna was fairly recent still and was only going up and caught all of this liquidity and attention during the bull market.
Yeah, and also besides this, the algorithm that was not, let's say, extremely sound, resistant to events like this, we also had Anchor. It was a major protocol on Terra. Was a borrow and loan protocol on top of Terra that was from the beginning and throughout all the time offering a flat 20% interest rate on everything. This is crazy,
It's
right?
insane.
So, okay, at the beginning, when let's say in the beginning of 2021, we were in this full-blown bull market. Other DeFi platforms were offering extreme APRs as well, and this model, like offering 20%, could be feasible. But in the summer of 2021, the market kind of crashed and went down, and at that point, 20% was well above other protocols, what other DeFi protocols were offering back then. But Anchor decided to keep this rate.
Yeah, and you know what I like to think is if you're going into a DeFi project and you don't know a lot about it, but there's a massive APR, if you can't understand where this APR is coming from in very simple terms, then be very cautious because something might be wrong.
Yeah, and in that case, because Anchor was offering these, let's say, insane interest rates at a time the market was not very good, so lots of people flocked into Anchor, like coming from other DeFi platforms because they wanted to maximize their gains. It's totally, we can understand that.
They were trading coins from all different blockchains or different stable coins instead into UST or Luna to get UST.
Exactly. And then at some quickly, Anchor passed the mark of 10 billion, right?
Yeah.
Of UST stacked in there. And that meant that the Anchor would have to give away $2 billion of interest in a year to people.
Per year.
Yeah.
So this is obviously unsustainable. If you just look into it for about 10 minutes, you'll realize that these numbers are crazy.
So just to make the story short, right? So at some point, the market started to spiral down after the Fed's announcements about the interest rates. We had all this, the price of Bitcoin going down sharply, and of course, all the altcoins going even faster than Bitcoin downward. And some people, some whales started to wake up to the fact that they might be at the brink of a systemic risk at anchor.
Yeah, and I think the problem is it quickly got under collateralized. So there was some panic started with the big funds.
Yeah.
And something important to mention is that I think the founders of Luna realized there was a problem with this, so they created this outside reserve fund, a kind of a little bit of a centralized fund where if other funds were pumping BTC into it
Yeah.
to try and over collateralize it. But the issue with this was that it's actually another volatile asset that is backing it.
Yeah, and it's the fact that you have to pull in an extra foundation to get a Bitcoin collateral means that the algorithm is not very solid to start with, right?
It starts becoming centralized instead of a decentralized algorithmic stablecoin.
Anyway, when these big whales just decided to sell off their UST because they were feeling this risky scenario, then you guys know what happened. UST depegged. Other people started to get into this panic mode and started selling their UST, exchange their UST for Luna, and immediately selling their Luna for dollar or whatever, right? So real money, and that flooded the Luna with, because they had to mint lots of Luna for that, and the price of Luna going down, they enter a spiral, a negative spiral that's led Luna to the ashes, right?
Exactly, it was a snowball effect.
Yeah. So yeah.
So this was kind of the summary of the Luna catastrophe, and I think we can learn a lot from it.
Yeah.
The importance of, first of all, security, decentralization. If you're making an algorithmic stablecoin, one of the most important things is to actually have real use of it. And it's probably not a bad idea to have real USD backing it.
Yeah, and I keep thinking that, these very high gains in DeFi, they are very tempting. So they challenge our rational mind. So sometimes you can look at something and you can, okay, this thing doesn't sound very stable as an algorithm, but everybody's coming in. I'm feeling FOMO. Maybe I should go in as well. So I think it appeals directly to the emotional brain, and that's the danger of this thing.
Exactly, yeah. You feel this fear of missing out, right? So you see 2,000% APY, and you don't want to miss out on that because you could make so much money in a day. And this is kind of a crowd effect.
Yeah, and I think in the case of a Luna, it was not a case of a bug in the smart contract, right? But the problem was, I think it was even deeper. The design of it was not stable. So I think whenever people are thinking about DeFi, they have to be careful not only about the stability if the code is secure, audited, but also having like sound opinions from people who can understand if these things are economically solid or not.
Like, what is the technical design of an algorithm? You could look up summaries of what technical people think of it, and just do a little bit of a deeper dive. I think this is really important when we see these new protocols coming up. But my number one rule is if it looks too good to be true, it probably
is too good to be true. Anyway, I think this whole event is a great wake up call. I mean, it's heartbreaking, right? I was heartbroken when I heard about lots of people being like really losing their savings and being destroyed by these events.
Yeah, I hope something like this never happens again in blockchain, but can't tell the future.
And I think this event is good for us to raise like deeper questions about DeFi, about Web3, where we are going with this industry, where we want to go with this industry, right? And that's why I wanted to gather with Colin today to reflect on these things.
Yeah, most of what we see in DeFi, I find it interesting. I mean, there's not too many new dApps or protocols that are coming out that are changing the game, right? So we still see the same basic Uniswaps, we still see the same basic curves, and reiterations on these, printing new tokens and creating new yields. And it's kind of a race to create the highest yield. And then they take all of this whole package and copy it on another blockchain, whether it be an Alt L1 or something else, something new.
So usually the high yields that we see on these yield farming and DeFi protocols, they come from tokens that are issued whose use cases and utility are not entirely clear to start with, but people start to believe that it's going to have a value in the future, but they don't have value. And it's basically a pyramid.
Yeah, and in fact, these tokens are printed out of thin air, and some are even just meant to be governance tokens with no value.
And this thing can only work while we are in the euphoric bull run. Once things start to go down, then these tokens are the first to lose value.
Exactly. That's why I think Web3 really, really needs to evolve past this phase of greed and quick gains.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on that?
yeah, I think that's the case, and I think when we think about Web3, we think about the evolution of the internet, the evolution of the way we interact to consume services, to provide services, to make decisions together. So you guys know all the values of blockchain. But when we look at what's going on with Web3 up to this point, I mean, there's still a lot of experimentation going on.
Yeah.
DeFi went through this euphoric cycle of yield farming, all these things that we just talked about. And then we had also play to earn games, right? Which in a sense, they're also kind of a DeFi in a sense, where people normally engage in these games because they want to make money.
Yeah, and that's the sole purpose. They aren't playing the game for fun. They're playing for the money. That's it.
And that's why I'm fan of the idea of play and earn games more than play to earn games, because I think games also must be entertaining. People must engage in the game because they are having fun, right? So they are bringing value to the game, to the platform. But if you're only engaging in the game for the sake of making money, then it's justified.
Yeah, there's an important difference there. I don't think we see too many real gamers who are playing blockchain games just for fun right now.
Yeah. So what I see is that we are still very early in the curve. Like the users, the main users of Web3, like most users of Web3, they are entering the system as an investment, as a means of investment of increasing their capital, which is not wrong. It's totally understandable, right?
Web3 is money, so
is money at this one, but we have to go past that point. Otherwise, we're not gonna get to where we want to get, right?
Exactly.
People must start to engage with Web3, not only to make gains, but because it's a better alternative to Web2 at some point.
Exactly. And we need to come together as a community and see where Web3, what do we want to achieve with Web3? Do we just want to create these Ponzi schemes of DeFi, or do you want to create a brand new internet, like where social media can be fully decentralized, or these marketplaces or sharing services? Yeah. Or who knows what people can come up with?
Yeah, of course, because I think even mainstream is starting to wake up now to the flaws of the old protocol, the basis of Web2, right? How monopolies start to accumulate way too much power, and naturally they start to make bad use of power, or they're not transparent, they make arbitrary decisions, they censor people, they block your accounts, they can ruin your life,
they steal your data.
They can, right? They are the owners of your data. So I think people are like, people beyond Web3, they're slowly starting to wake up for this, and that's a good thing for our industry.
And it's kind of related to what we see with these social media platforms. So you see Facebook running into problems, you see this talk about Twitter, you're seeing this more and more. So I think there's a real need for Web3 in general. Yeah,
so let's for instance, talk about Facebook and social media, right? So we often say hear complaints about the ownership of data, like the platforms own the data, not the users.
And they can do with that data whatever they want, essentially.
Yeah. The other problem that we see is the problem of censorship that you just talked about, and the other problem is the tuning of the algorithms, right? Because the algorithms are not working in the favor of people; they are working against people in a way, because they're trying to keep people as addicted as possible, right? To maximize the gains of the platform. So there is a basic misalignment of incentive coded in a private closed source code.
Exactly.
Right?
So I don't know if anyone saw the most recent talk on Twitter with Elon Musk, but he's trying to teach everyone how to change the algorithm of how it sorts your tweets. So if you click in the top right corner of your Twitter screen and change it to latest tweets instead of home tweets, it'll actually show you the most recent tweets instead of this algorithm that is trying to show you what it thinks is best for you, which may not actually be best for you. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, that's very nice. So clearly there is people are waking up to these needs, and I think that's the deeper purpose of Web3, for us to create transparent systems that are actually aligned with the best interests of people.
Yeah, by the way, if anyone wants to jump in and join the conversation, please feel free to request through your mic. No worries. Yeah, so I would say Web3 is still in an early experimental stage, but we are really optimistic about the future of it and trying to change it here at Cartesi.
Yeah, I think whenever there is a deep crisis like this, it's the darkness before the dawn, right?
Exactly.
The dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
When things like this happen, we all feel this gloomy feeling. I have been feeling this gloomy feeling these days, especially like Taiwan now is rainy these days. It feels really like this topic.
Exactly. Market is crashing.
But
projects are crashing.
But I'm pretty sure that these are cycles, and we have to learn how to navigate the cycles in an intelligent way. And I think this is good in the ultimate sense.
Yeah. Another topic I want to bring up here, something that I really resonate with, is like decentralization and security. They don't matter to anyone until the moment they do. Meaning, until something like this happens, you don't think about these things, and then you realize how important they are.
Exactly. So here we are. So the Bitcoin's there, Ethereum's there, so the test of time is a great test. These platforms are stable.
They've never gone down.
And there is a beautiful honeypot. So the prize is there. If someone is able to hack, be their guest, try it.
But no one has been able to do that yet, which shows their resilience. So, in my opinion, maybe this alternative L1 narrative is fading a little bit for some of them. We see certain blockchains going down. We see certain projects having algorithm problems. We see the same DeFi schemes on all of these other ones, and there hasn't been too much new innovation in the space, to be honest. And maybe we see more of a move to a long-lasting, more decentralized, and more secure systems that already exist, even like Ethereum.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this can be good for layer 2 in particular, right? There are many technical reasons for this. One of the reasons that it's very safe, very secure for different layer 2 to interact with each other, to bridge between themselves on a single blockchain, then bridging different blockchains. So if you have different layer 2 on top of Ethereum, for instance, they can easily or safely send and receive assets through layer 1.
And it's always secured by the same security as Ethereum. So that's kind of the most important thing about proper layer 2 solutions. You're not spinning up a new blockchain where you have to spin up hundreds of nodes with adequate security, adequate locations. You're using this global, robust system that's been working for years without flaw.
Yeah, we have to see what's going to happen, right? I mean, this discussion, if the future is single chain or multi-chain, is...
Yeah, this is a deep topic.
It's a deep topic, and we at Cartesi try to make things, to adapt to whatever the future holds. So from the beginning, we thought about a system that would be easily portable across different blockchains, and we want to be prepared for any scenario.
So we are blockchain agnostic as well, but we're heavy believers in layer 2.
Yeah.
Using the underlying security.
Yeah. So again, I think this was a negative moment, but I think the future is bright for Web3. I think we still have deep problems regarding user experience, but these things will be overcome given enough time, right? There are many things that Web3 can do better in terms of UX than Web2. Take for instance, user authentication, identity, right? Signing into systems. There are many advantages. So I think it's always about maturity, like technological maturity of the ecosystem.
Absolutely. And what we're building with Cartesi and the blockchain OS, we hope to go beyond these barriers that we currently see. So we hope to actually maybe enable these identification solutions, or
Yeah, yeah, and
maybe
I
we
think
can explore that a bit.
yeah, and what we're building now, I'm even more optimistic to be honest, because with the blockchain OS and the bringing an operating system, that means that people can actually develop systems that are more complex, that look more like Web2 systems that are more complex by nature, right? And also, it's going to be easier for existing Android developers, Web2 developers to enter through Cartesi into blockchain, because they're going to have the tools and the environment they're used to, and they can bring their own ways of thinking, their business models, their ideas into this space. And I think we need that.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing that might be interesting for everyone in the Twitter space here is kind of going a little bit into what we could actually do with Cartesi, just to kind of paint a picture. So right now you see in DeFi on Ethereum, for example, you have Uniswap, which swaps tokens. Then you have Aave, which does borrow and lending. But with the blockchain OS, you could actually kind of combine these into one dApp and make a much more complex dApp. So when we're saying on Twitter, we're saying on Telegram or Discord that you can make much more complex dApps with Cartesi, this is kind of what we mean. You could make a full mini Binance with borrowing, lending, with trading, with derivatives, with futures, all in one dApp.
Yeah. And of course, we are, our number one priority now is to bring our MVP to fruition, to production, to mainnet, and that's all our energy is around this. So, do you want to maybe give some space for people to raise their hands if they want to make some questions?
Absolutely. Carmen, you just raised your hand, I think. Well, if not, does anyone else want to jump in, ask a question, maybe contribute to the conversation? Please feel free.
Yeah, guys, what do you think about these current moments in Web3? What happened to Luna? Or if you have any questions about Cartesi?
All right, I'll invite you to speak here. One sec.
Is it working?
Hello, everyone. Hello, guys.
Hey.
Hi. My name is Dodie. I live in London, and I have been following Cartesi for some time. And I just wanted to find out. I've been following your tweets, and also I found out about the token um, about a year ago, or sometime last year. I don't think it's up to a year, but late last year. And I found it interesting. I actually found out I play chess, so I found and I'm passionate about chess as well. And I found an article on Medium about Cartesi and chess, which even sparked my interest even more. But what I was gonna ask is, your blockchain, have you started to integrate things for NFT capability, smart contracts and all that?
Yeah, great questions. Thanks. So first of all, let us make it clear that Cartesi is developing a layer 2, right? So we're going to be running on blockchains like Ethereum. Actually, our first version will be even layer 3. Our MVP for Cartesi rollouts will be launched on Polygon. Later, we are also going to launch on Ethereum, of course. But yeah, to answer your question, we are going to be a full smart contract platform. We're going to be allowing people to develop smart contracts, but even in a much more powerful way, because right now, if you want to develop a smart contract, you have to use typically Solidity, right? And you are constrained by the tools that Ethereum ecosystem has developed, and you cannot really use the mainstream software tools that developers have been using for Web2. So the innovation of Cartesi is to bring the mainstream tools for to develop smart contracts that are much more powerful than the ones that we have nowadays. And to answer your first question, yes, we're going to be giving support to, in our first version of Cartesi rollups, we're going to give support to NFTs as well.
Got you. And what can I just quickly, I know other people may have questions here, but I just wanted to ask one more quick one. What is the TPS on Cartesi blockchain?
So when you're talking about layer 2, this metric is not usually the metric that we're going to use because we are not a blockchain. We are layer 2, right? So when we are using layer 2 like rollups, like Cartesi is using, of course you can compress transactions, you can get much more efficiency in the number of transactions you can pack inside of a block. So you can expect like 40 times more, something like this, in terms of compression of what you would have on Ethereum, for instance. And in terms of computation, which is the main scalability vector that you would have, let's say, on Cartesi, using optimistic rollups as we use, is that we can actually have much more computation than you could have on layer 1. So for you to have an idea, right? So nowadays, people, when they develop DeFi or anything that runs on Ethereum or even on Polygon, they have to make very simplistic logic and smart contracts because there is very limits in terms of computation. As a computer, these blockchains, they are very limited. And with Cartesi, you can have like 10,000 folds increase in the amount of computation in comparison to the underlying blockchain, while we preserve the security guarantees of the blockchain. So that would be a better metric for you to think, not TPS, but the scalability that you can have in terms of computation that will actually allow you to develop applications that look much more like Web 2 applications, like the applications you use on the internet today.
All right. So when you say scaling solution, when you say layer 2, this is like a scaling solution, like Polygon and Arbitrum and Co, right?
It is similar to Arbitrum. Actually, the underlying algorithm that Arbitrum uses is optimistic rollups with interactive dispute resolution. We also take that approach, but the main difference in the case of Cartesi is that we run a virtual machine that allows you to run Linux, right? So instead of programming your smart contract using Solidity, with Cartesi you can build your smart contract using whatever software stacks and components people use on mainstream software.
Got you. Thank you very much. That answers all my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. Awesome. Anyone else want to jump in? I'll make you a speaker.
Anyone else? Any comments are welcome.
Looks like it's just me and you guys. Yeah. This is a completely off the kind of well, not completely, but with the chess thing. Does any of you play chess? And did you see the article on Medium or Cartesi on chess?
Yeah, me and Eric actually play chess sometimes. So it's a good game. But
I actually love chess. When I was younger, was it primary? No, I was before high school. I think in high school, initial of high school, I was playing chess, even competing. I love chess. Nowadays I suck, to be honest, but it's a lovely game. Yeah. So we implemented chess on Cartesi months ago, just as a proof of concept, like we do with other little games that we implement. We did that with Crypts, which is a tower defense game. We did that with Texas Hold'em, which are more like well-finished demos. But Naked Chess was a more simplistic demo, kind of command line, terminal without a proper graphical UI. But the objective was to show that we were able to run something that was more computationally intensive, like a chess game. If you were to implement the logic of chess game on Ethereum or on a blockchain, would be having a hard time.
And what was interesting is when we implemented chess, nobody actually had to write it from scratch, the game. So someone took an open source version and we ported it over.
Yeah. So that's what Colin says is a very, 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 very important feature of Cartesi, that the fact that we bring Linux, it means that, in the last 30 years or so, since Linux existed, we had this open source explosion in the universe, right? Yeah. So open source has eaten the world. So you have these myriads platforms and systems and services and libraries and components that people have just open, and that other developers can use to build whatever they like. So just like they stand on the shoulders of giants. So if you want to implement a chess, it's not as if you have to re-implement everything from scratch. You can go do a Google search and find, oh, here is a library, here's a component that implements the engine of chess. Then you can take that component and compile for the Cartesi machine.
Yeah, so in this case, we're kind of acting like a bridge between software that's already existing.
That sounds amazing. So you could actually build, like, say I wanted to build a game like Command and Conquer, for example, like a turn-based game where each player could move certain pieces simultaneously, or rather strategically at the same time. I could actually implement that using Cartesi, right?
Yeah, you have to be careful with the computational limits, because if you compare what you can do in Cartesi with what you can do on Polygon, it's just like tens of thousands more computation than you can do there. So that opens up a broad range of games that you could implement, like turn-based games, strategy games, RPG games. But if you want to do real-time games, then it's more complicated, because you have other technical difficulties, like how you're gonna share the events among the players, and if these things have to enter in a block, there is a block time of the underlying blockchain. So yeah, you can do lots of games using Cartesi, but at this stage, it would be very hard for you to do a real-time game. But what you can do is already, like, compared to what you could do on Ethereum or Polygon, is like infinitely superior.
Yeah, and generally turn-based games will be easier.
Yeah, you can think of strategy games, turn-based games, card games. There are really a broad range of games that you can do using Cartesi.
That is really interesting. Thanks very much for this. I really appreciate
the question.
This room and the information you've given us today.
Our pleasure.
It's a pleasure to be here with you guys, and thanks a lot for everyone coming here. I'll give one last chance for anyone if anyone has a last question. Otherwise, I think we are good. We've been talking for 40 minutes now. I think we covered the topics that we wanted to cover.
It was a good coffee.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if everyone knows, but I also wanted to mention the Cartesi improvement proposals we actually have running. So we have a number of technical discussions going on in the forum right now. And if you guys want to check those out or contribute, we'd love to invite you there. You just have to head over to our GitHub, search for CIPs, and then go to the discussion board. So there's lots of interesting topics happening there.
Definitely. All right, guys. Great to be here, and we're going to meet again in the next Coffee with Cartesi.
Yeah, we'll see you at the next one. We'll be sure to schedule it soon.
Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.